Stop scrolling right now and stay with this story until the end because what you are about to hear has shaken fans across the world, and if you love emotional revelations, dramatic twists, and unforgettable moments, then subscribe to this channel right now, like this video, comment your thoughts, and share it with every fan you know because this is one story you do not want to miss. The room was quiet in a way that felt heavy yet expectant, the kind of silence that only happens when everyone knows something important is about to be said. Cameras were ready, lights were steady, and Dylan Wang sat calmly yet with an intensity that could not be ignored. His posture relaxed, but his eyes told a different story. This was not another casual interview, this was a moment that would redefine everything. 4 years rumors had followed him like a shadow. Every project, every appearance, every co-star was analyzed. Fans speculated endlessly, critics debated motives, and the internet never slept. But on this day Dylan was no longer dodging questions, he was no longer smiling through vague answers, he was ready to speak. When the interviewer asked about relationships, the air shifted. Dylan paused, not for drama, but for honesty. He took a breath, and then said something that sent shockwaves through the fandom. He said that the only truly perfect relationship in his life was with SHEN YUE. The words did not come rushed, they came steady, calm, and sincere, as if he had carried them for a long time, waiting for the right moment to release them. The room reacted instantly, gasps, whispers, stunned expressions, and outside the studio social media erupted in real time. Fans replayed the clip over and over, analyzing his tone, his expression, the way his voice softened when he said her name, because this was not scripted, it was not promotional, it was raw truth. Dylan spoke about connection, understanding, and emotional safety. He described a bond built on trust, respect, and shared growth. He talked about laughter during difficult days, quiet conversations away from cameras, and a feeling of peace that he rarely found in the spotlight. He said that with SHEN YUE there was no need to pretend, no pressure to perform, no fear of being misunderstood. He said she saw him not as a star, not as a headline, but as a person, and that kind of connection was rare. As he spoke, scenes from the past seemed to resurface in the minds of fans. Moments they once brushed off as coincidence now felt meaningful. Shared smiles on set, subtle glances behind the scenes, the ease in their interactions, interviews where their chemistry was undeniable but never explained. Dylan admitted that fame complicates everything, expectations, opinions, and constant scrutiny can turn something beautiful into something fragile. Yet he said that what made his relationship with SHEN YUE different was their ability to protect what mattered without needing to prove anything to the world. He revealed that even during times apart the bond never weakened, it matured. He said distance taught them patience, silence taught them understanding, and challenges taught them resilience. Outside the studio fans gathered, some in disbelief, some in tears, some celebrating, as if a long-awaited truth had finally come to light. Messages poured in from every corner of the world. People shared how dyshen had inspired them, how their story felt genuine, how it reminded them that real connection still exists even in an industry known for illusion. The most powerful moment came when Dylan was asked if he regretted waiting so long to speak. His answer was simple. He said some truths need time to grow strong enough to stand on their own. He said he was no longer afraid of being honest because protecting what is real matters more than protecting an image, and with that statement the narrative shifted forever. This was not a dramatic confession filled with theatrics, it was a calm declaration rooted in certainty, and that is why it resonated so deeply. By the time the interview ended, the internet was on fire. Headlines spread, clips went viral, debates ignited, yet one thing remained clear: this was not about rumors anymore, it was about intention. Dylan Wang had spoken, and his words carried weight, not because they were loud but because they were real. As fans continue to discuss, analyze, and reflect, one truth stands firm: this story is far from over, and whatever the future holds, the bond between Dylan Wang and SHEN YUE has already left a mark that cannot be erased. After Dylan Wang's words echoed through the interview room, something invisible but irreversible shifted. It was not applause that followed. It was silence. The kind of silence that settles when truth lands too close to the heart. Producers exchanged glances. Staff paused mid-movement. Even the cameras seemed to hesitate, as if aware they had just captured a moment that could not be undone. Dylan remained seated for a few seconds longer than expected. His hands rested calmly, yet his breathing revealed the weight he had just released. For years he had mastered the art of careful answers, polite deflections, gentle smiles that revealed nothing. But this time there was no shield. He had chosen clarity over comfort. When he finally stood and exited the room, the hallway outside felt colder. His phone vibrated endlessly in his pocket, but he did not check it. He already knew what was happening. He had said her name without hesitation. He had called their connection perfect. And the world was now running with it. Within minutes, clips spread across platforms. Fans translated his words into dozens of languages. Reactions poured in from every corner of the globe. Some cried. Some celebrated. Some argued. But no one ignored it. The phrase "only perfect relationship" became a symbol, a question, and a declaration all at once. In another city far away from the noise, SHEN YUE sat quietly in a dimly lit room. Her day had been ordinary until it was not. Her phone lit up again and again. At first she ignored it. Then curiosity gave way to concern. When she finally watched the clip, she did not react immediately. She watched once. Then again. Then a third time. She noticed the pauses between his words. The steadiness in his tone. The absence of performance. This was not something rehearsed. It was something decided. Memories surfaced gently. Not dramatic scenes, but quiet ones. Late nights on set when exhaustion turned into laughter. Moments of understanding without explanation. The rare comfort of being seen without being examined. She remembered how easy it felt to exist around him without pretending. SHEN YUE placed her phone face down and closed her eyes. She did not smile. She did not cry. Instead, she felt something deeper. Relief. She knew the world would expect a response. A statement. A sign. But she also knew that responding too quickly would turn something sincere into something reactive. So she chose silence. Not because she was unsure, but because she was grounded. Days passed and the conversation only grew louder. Headlines speculated. Commentators analyzed body language. Fans replayed old clips searching for clues that now felt obvious. People debated whether this confession changed everything or simply confirmed what had always been there. Behind the scenes, Dylan navigated the aftermath carefully. Meetings were held. Advice was given. Risks were outlined. Yet for the first time he listened without anxiety. Whatever consequences followed felt lighter than the burden of hiding. When Dylan and SHEN YUE finally spoke privately, there was no dramatic opening. No confrontation. No emotional outburst. There was familiarity. Warmth. And a sense of coming home to a conversation long overdue. They talked slowly. About how the industry shapes silence. About how protecting something real sometimes looks like distance. About how timing is not always about readiness but about courage. Dylan admitted that calling their relationship perfect was not about perfection itself. It was about alignment. About feeling understood without translation. About peace instead of performance. SHEN YUE shared how she had learned to protect her heart by staying quiet. How speaking too much often invites misunderstanding. How she valued the way he never rushed her into explanations. They did not define what came next. They did not promise outcomes. Instead, they agreed on something simpler. Honesty, patience, and intention. In the weeks that followed, subtle changes became visible. Dylan's interviews carried a steadiness that fans noticed immediately. He smiled less performatively and spoke more deliberately. SHEN YUE appeared calmer, her presence confident yet unguarded. Fans sensed the shift. Not because of public moments but because of absence. The absence of chaos. The absence of forced narratives. The absence of denial. The story no longer felt like speculation. It felt like something unfolding quietly in real time. Some fans wanted confirmation. Others wanted celebration. But what they received instead was something more mature. Two people choosing to move carefully in a world that thrives on noise. As months passed, the intensity of debate softened into respect. Even critics acknowledged the authenticity of the moment. This was not a stunt. Not a distraction. Not a calculated reveal. It was a personal truth shared without demand. And that is why it lingered. This story did not explode and fade. It settled. It stayed. It grew deeper with time. Because real connection does not shout. It resonates. And if you stayed until now, if this story made you pause, reflect, or feel understood, then subscribe, like, comment, and share. Because here we tell stories that move beyond headlines and into the quiet spaces where real emotions live. This journey is not finished. It is only finding its voice.